Foster care.
So growing up, I grew up in like different homes.
Gang member.
I was in charge of this like club, this gang.
Pedophile hunter.
When I was 10, I lived with like a pedophile family.
Prison.
I spent a lot of time in prison.
Breaking the chains and becoming a pro boxer. Now, hunting for Tommy Fury.
And he sort of is in a corner now where if he doesn't fight, he pretty much has to give up boxing, I would have thought.
This is the interview with Matt Floyd. Your story is intriguing to me. You've been to prison, you've had foster care, you've hunted down pedophiles. Elaborate a little bit more about your foster care days. Like how did we get into foster care?
You want me to start there when I was a kid?
Yeah, you could start there.
Okay, so when I was so growing up, I grew up in like different homes, different places, some good ones and some bad ones. You know, like there's heaps of different stories, obviously, of different places, but I usually tend to start with when I was 10, I lived with like a pedophile family.
Okay.
I call them a pedophile family. I actually got questioned on one podcast I did a few weeks ago, and he was like, "Man, when you say pedophile family, like I always thought it was like, you know, like 20 people involved, but it was only the parents. They had like a daughter, like their own biological daughter, and then the rest of the kids there were foster kids. So I always clear that up, that it wasn't like a pedophile ring or 20 different people. It was just the guy Bob and his wife. They were making videos of us and that. I was the oldest kid, and yeah, so I call them the pedophile family. But that was when I was 10. I was staying with them for several months. I ran away from there. I was the oldest kid, so I felt a lot of guilt being the oldest kid. They had their own biological daughter, Whitney. She was about 2. Pretty much, I think they were just like making money off making videos of kids. I make real life videos, like say we'll pretend to, or not pretend, would have to like actually get married and do all that sort of stuff, and they'll just do like they'll make videos of um like scenes, like plays of us getting married or us being knights, and or us playing Dungeons and whatever. They'll just make videos and they'll turn it into like child pornography pretty much.
Wow.
And about a year and a half or so later, so just before I started high school, I was staying with this. Obviously, I stayed with some good people in between this, but then I stayed with this basketball coach. And yeah, and this is sort of where I turned. I around the same time, that pedophile family I was staying with, it was like everyone knew about it around then. They got done, so it was talked about and that. And obviously, because I was the oldest kid, I ran away. It brought back everything for me because they'd all been done for like making videos and what they'd done and stuff. And at the same time, I had the basketball coach. It just all happened at once, so I sort of just turned on him. And for me, it felt like it happened overnight. I sort of, when I was staying with him, and after that, I became like this person, like this man that wasn't scared of anyone, or this boy at the time, and I'd fight anyone, and I would just get into fights and join. I was joining gangs, and I wanted to be like this. I don't know, like I just wanted to be, like this
So
this
that was
fighter, this gangster. I'm not sure. Like I just wanted to fight everyone.
and so it was from that is what changed your trajectory, so to speak.
My memory is like that. Like obviously things don't just happen overnight where you become this like superhero or anything like over, but it feels like that when I look back and I try and remember things. I remember entering high school pretty close to around the time where I was staying with the basketball coach and all that shit went down. I remember just being like that one day. So I feel like it was because of all that, and I feel like it happened overnight, but that's like my memory of it all. But anyway, it just evolved from there. I never backed down from there. I wasn't, I was just not scared, no nonsense sort of, in high school. I'd fight anyone, and I just kept doing that until now, really.
Mm-hmm.
And it evolved from
Yeah,
that.
it must be like a certain age where something just there's a switch that goes off in your head, and you just say, "I'm not taking shit from nobody." Now I'm guessing that stems to when you grow up and you start to become a pedophile hunter, so to speak, almost like a bounty hunter, right?
Also, sorry, I forget to mention, I haven't mentioned any of my other podcasts actually. I just thought about it then as we were talking.
Okay.
Around the same time, my uncle, who was like probably the only man that I could say that I looked up to as a child and like like a role model. He got shot in the head. He died when I was around the same age, and I remember that also happened around the same time when I changed, and that um, he was like this. No, he was a tough guy. And he was probably the closest thing I had to a role model. I didn't get to. He lived in Holland. I'm from
Hmm.
Australia,
Yep.
so I didn't get. It's not like I never got to like stay with him all the time or anything. So he would have been someone that if I grew up with, I probably would be. It would have been completely different for me. But yeah. So that happened around the same time. Sorry, I just thought about that then. But
Oh, you're fine.
yeah, that's
I gotta
so that's
apologize.
sort of what evolved for me. Um, and then yeah, as a teenager, um, I just thought like I'd sort of I'd always be very much against it, just like everyone else is, except I would do something if I could. And then
Right.
as an adult, yeah, if anything came up, and then when I um was in charge of this like club, this gang, I the boys, they they uh they had the respect there and things like that. So I sort of it just became like a thing where I was putting a lot more time and investing a lot more time and dedicated a lot of my time into actually getting pedophiles, rather than just doing it on the side. If it came up here and there, if I heard a story, I'd because that was how it was a long time, and then
Hmm.
then it came to a part where we started like planning it and strategies and actually like I spent a lot of time, probably
Well, let me stop you
fucking
real
more than
fast.
half my life on it.
Um, that you alluded to it. So you was this like were you doing it for like personal gain? Were you doing it to like beat the catch somebody and beat them up? Were you doing it for like
Everything, man,
helping out
everything,
the law?
maybe, but when I speak to counsellors and things like that, they tell me it's guilt, like from guilt from when I was a kid. But then, when people ask me, I just say like I hate pedophiles. And then other answers is I feel like I did it because I wanted everyone else to start doing it. I wanted everyone to follow, and I feel like if
Right.
everyone wore a mask one day and grabbed the pedophile, I feel like they'd get rid of all of them.
Hmm.
I'm not really sure. There's a bunch. I can give you a bunch of answers.
So you're doing it for yourself.
At that stage of my life, yeah,
Okay. Now you spent some time in prison, from what
yeah.
I've read.
I spent a lot of time in prison for that. I ended up
Oh,
getting done.
for that. Okay.
Yeah.
Elaborate more on that.
So they set up an operation to get me, and they used a pedophile. I obviously didn't know he was a pedophile. He looked the part. I was taken in uh, ex boxers, crims that wanted to change their life around. This guy had the tattoos on his face. He looked the part. He said he was an ex boxer. He ended up getting in with me because the police got him in. So he was a pedophile, a registered pedophile already, and he'd just been done again for a 12-year-old girl several times. So when he got done for this, the police have offered him like a discount off his sentence if he could, you know, uh, pretty much get people. And then I was the target. So he lived at my gym where I was taking people in for several months, and then that's how the cops ended up getting me. So they pretty much set me up with a pedophile.
Which blows my mind because it's almost like, well, who cuts deals with child predators? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, and
So,
then more
go
even
ahead.
happened after that. So like the boys I went to prison, and a few boys were still continuing it on. I told them to stop. I said we've done enough, boys. Like it's fucking we've made and I didn't
Mhm.
want them to get in trouble like I did, but they kept it going, and they ended up getting set up. So the police, so what they did was they had this phone. They were pretending to be a kid or whatever. They'd lure pedophiles, and they'll get them. And then the police pretended to be a pedophile, and they end up getting the boys because they thought, if that makes sense. So yeah, that happened afterwards. Probably about a year afterwards. they end up all gonna, well, not all of them, but a few boys went to prison after me.
It just seems backwards for law enforcement to
Well,
even
that's why
try
I
and
try and
stop.
raise awareness. I will try and raise awareness to the public so they realise that a lot of their money that they think they're going on taxes and that. I mean, this would cost hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of dollars for them to set up these sort of operations, the
Yeah.
time and the manpower and all that sort of stuff and everything else. So yeah, I try and raise awareness that this is what some of our money's going on.
So as far as your gang affiliation, is this in prison as well? When you get to that point, is this, or is this before?
No, so I wanted to. No. So this was before prison. I wanted to fight. I was always fighting. I started fighting at a young age, like properly started fighting, and I wanted to
Oh,
have a
like
professional boxing.
amateurly or just fighting?
So I was
Fighting.
doing Muay Thai first, and I did mixed martial arts, and then I was that kid when I was 16 that had heaps of fights, and I thought, "Fuck yeah, I'm an amazing fighter." And then the older kids said, "Mate, you need to be taught a lesson," which they did. They took me to a gym where I got beat up real bad by a man who could actually fight. Because when you're a kid and you're getting all these street fights, and you think, you know,
You
you
realize it's
don't
a totally
actually.
different world when you go into a gym.
Yeah. And that's what happened to me. I was that kid and I got beat up and I fucking went back to the gym the next day and I went to the gym every day, after that. So, and then it started humbling me out slowly as well. Um, I did Muay Thai MMA first, and then around this time when I was taking people off the street, I had a gym where I was taking people in. And at this gym, Danny Green and Angelo Hyder were there. Danny Green's probably Australia's most recognised best boxer we've had from here, one of. And
Over George Kambosos.
well, Danny Green knocked out Roy Jones Jr. in the first round when Roy
Yes, I
Jones
do.
was
I
young.
remember that.
Yeah,
Yep.
and Danny Green he fought Antonio. He fought. Oh, he beat he fought BJ Flores as well.
Hmm.
And yeah, he fought a lot of big names. He's a multiple world champion, and anyway, yeah. So he was probably the first biggest, after Jeff Fennick. But yeah, so he was training at my gym with Angelo Hyder, who's known as one of the best coaches in the world as well himself. Um, so yeah, he was training, and he started training me from my gym, and we're taking people in as well and things like that. And I wanted to have my first professional boxing match. Then I was training for it then, and then I went to prison for. I actually pedophile hunting because I wanted to concentrate on boxing and turn my life around. And then because this pedophile was set up at the place and he was so close to home and he'd been around my children and things like that, I thought with my heart, not my head. So I made the bad decision. That's how I got done. All the other ones you don't really get done for because you think with your head, you do it smart. But this one was a heart decision, and hence why how the cops got me. But this actually happened after I'd stopped and I was concentrating on boxing. I was actually turning my life around, and then um, they got me for it in the end. So when I was in prison, that's all I did was train for hours and hours all day every day, so I could fight as soon as I got out. And I got out at 30, and that's what I've done.
Okay.
That's why I'm 15. That's why I'm 15-0 now.
Okay. So in prison, you just trained, or was there anything where they would set up boxing matches like you see in some movies or something?
No, they don't do that where I'm from. But I set up the first boxing program that they've ever had in the prison from where I'm from. It took me a long time to set it up. It kept going on for years after I left. It stopped now again. It's hard to get boxing because for obvious reasons, but we got it and we had it for a few years. And in there, yeah, I was, you're not supposed to spar in there, but I was sparring every day against big
Mhm.
boys. And we're talking the gloves you get in there are like it's pretty much bare knuckles. So yeah, I was doing that all day every day, for all them years, and I ran the gym as well, so I had a good job. So I was in the gym every day.
And plus,
Um,
being in there, you probably got to, you know, look over your shoulder and make sure.
Not really, man. It's pretty good over here. If you're not like, it's mainly not if you're using drugs or you're smoking cigarettes. That's 90% of the issues in prison. I don't do neither. So the other 10%, ego. But there's not so much ego in there because it's just all men. Like there's no normally, there's not like heaps of, it's not like out here. In there, it's not as bad as what you'd think. Of course, there's a couple. I mean, I think I got into maybe one or two scraps, but it was nothing at
Right.
all, really. Yeah.
So you made your pro debut in 2021. Is that correct?
2021. Yeah. So that was another issue when I got out. The boxing commission here wouldn't let me fight because I was in prison for a violent offence. So it took me years and years and years to fight. So I was always fighting. I've always got hurdles. I'm always fighting to fight it. So that's just how it is. But yeah, I finally got to fight in 2021. I had about You go.
Okay. So that blemish on your record that you said is overturned now, kind of reminds me of what happened this past weekend with the controversial knee between Tank and Roach, and now he's actually trying to get that overturned because he says if it's counted as a knockdown, I win that fight. Now, do you want to elaborate a little bit on this record controversy that you have?
So what happened was I fought a guy called Sirumon Cole, who's he's pretty well known in Asia and Thailand. He's recognised as one of the greatest fighters. People say, "Oh, what about Manny and things like that?" I don't say he's recognised as one of the greatest boxers of all time. I say fighters because he's had 500 fights, bare knuckled Muay Thai, and he's been a world champion and everything. He was a WBC boxing world champion, and he's I think he was 99 wins and 5 losses when I fought him as a boxer. So when I say fighter, he's largely recognised as one of the greatest fighters Asia's ever had because he's been world champion in all different things, which he is. He's one of the first people to get out of prison from becoming a world champion, or he got out less time or something like that. So there's a story there. So he's a pretty famous dude. He owns a gym over there. They run the judges over there. His family, his dad, they're the boxing commission over there. So I knew all that when I fought him, but I was very confident, obviously. I fought him at Lupini Stadium, which is like their main stadium. So he had it was packed out full of all his fans and everything. A week before the fight, everyone told me not to fight this guy in Thailand. This guy's never been dropped in his whole life. Apparently, not even training over 500 fights. He's never been dropped in his whole apparently in his whole life training or anything. I've been told he's known as like Jade Head or something like that. But I still thought I was going to knock him out. I didn't have any right hand. I broke my hand my right hand a week before the fight. Once again, no one wanted me to fight again. And then, but I'm one of them people, like if you tell them not to do it, I'll try and defy all odds, which I do. And then a few days before the fight, they changed the judges on me. So it was supposed to be an Australian judge, an American judge, and a Thai judge. And like days before, it was like, oh, it's got to be 2 Thai judges and then an Australian judge or something like that. By the time I fought, it was all Thai judges, and the one guy that wasn't a Thai judge was a Thai resident who lived there, who worked for their family, who worked for the father. So it was all his judges on the panel. A day before the fight's for a world title. It's a shitty world title, but it was a world title. It was a WBF world title. It was supposed to be 79.38 kilos or whatever the light heavyweight is, and I had to agree a day before the fight to be 83 kilos. Otherwise the fight was off. So once again, everyone's like, "Man, don't fight." I rock up at 5 a.m. to do the. I was with Paul Winslow, who owns the box. Who's like this big job, the biggest or one of the biggest gyms when you get to Bangkok. And I was with Stevie Rules, another professional fighter, and on the scales, I weighed my 79, and then he weighed 83. So what they've done is they've fucked around with the scales, changed the scales. So when the WBF come in, it says like the right weight, like the weight it's supposed to be. And then when the WBF come in, they fucked it up too much. They made the scales too light, so it made them like 70 kilos or something stupid. So you've got the promoter's mate fucking putting his foot on the fucking scales in front of the WBF, going, "Oh, it's okay," like making it make weight. So it ended up being 75, 76, whatever. Mate, there's that much shit. Paul Windsor's lived in Thailand for 10 years, and he said to me, "Man, I've seen some fucking weird shit here, but he goes, I've never seen anything like this. And he was telling me not to fight. He goes, it's not a good idea. I go, nah, I reckon I'll knock him out. It's all right, you know. But then with my broken hand, and obviously he's a good boxer. Like he's a WBC world champion. He is a bit older. That's the whole point of the fight. It's my 15th fight. It was my step up to the next big one. So I wasn't, he was supposed to be a past his prime ex great fighter, which is what he was. So I knew he could box no matter what. So I thought I'm just going to outbox him like really like great over 12 rounds because people watch me fight and they think I've got a very awkward, weird, different style, and they don't think it's great. But I believe that it's relentless, and I'll beat anyone with it because all the I've had the best in the world spar me, watch me, and think, oh, it's going to be like an easy day of sparring. They've all said every time it's the toughest sparring they've ever had. So I knew that I could do that with this guy over 12 rounds and do it really badly, and that's what I want to do. I want to prove, to myself. And that's what I did, man. I beat him if you watch the fight, I beat him every single. Have you watched the fight?
I think I seen a clip. I seen a short clip when I was Googling who you were.
So I know what you just said on the weekend, like the controversy, like that was a close fight. Obviously with that,
Did you watch it?
Yeah, obviously with that, if it does get caught as a knockdown, he wins the fight, like 100%, I believe.
And the reason I bring it up is because I've seen on X and a bunch of other comments through social media about, oh, just rematch him. Who cares? Or why are we going to the courts? But then again, there's another side of me that says what's right is right, and if he won the fight, then it should reflect that.
People just want to see a rematch, man, but people don't realize everything that he went through for that fight, all the training, all the mental stuff, people don't realize, like, yeah, if he won the fight, he deserves to win that fight. Absolutely, I agree with you. The same thing happened with me. People don't. Right. People are like, oh, people said the same to me. Just rematch him, and I'm like, they don't understand. Like when they don't know the feeling of being.
It doesn't even make you want to rematch him because, like, all right,
you've already won.
Yeah,
I won it. Got to do it.
And if I rematch him, and you've already put the blemish on my record, who's to say?
People just want to see a rematch because the people that say that are people that haven't fought themselves and they don't understand the feelings and everything behind it, and they think, yeah, it's the fight was a lot closer than mine. Mine was very much like every single round I won, like very clearly. There's no controversy in my fight. Like I just won every round. The only controversy is how did they corrupt the fight? Like how did they, like how did it allowed to happen so openly to the world?
Right.
It's very, very strange and bizarre. A lot of people seen that fight, and got involved because it was just stupid. People should have boycotted Thailand after that fight.
Now, how old was this guy that you fought?
I don't even know, man. He was old. He was in his 40s. He was in his 40s.
And I bring that up because when I was watching one of the clips, like I said, I watched a little short clip of that. I noticed in some comments, people were trying to come at you like, oh, Jake Paul doesn't want to, because you've been calling out Jake Paul and Tommy Fury, right? And somebody had mentioned, oh, Jake Paul's not going to fight a person who lost to a 46-year-old.
I'll beat Jake Paul anyway. Like I beat that guy. I beat that guy twice, so I rematched him, and I beat him every round again. So I never lost, and I beat everyone else too. I've never lost a fight. I certainly wouldn't lose to Jake Paul. I'd beat Jake Paul 100%.
And a lot of people give him the YouTube boxing title, which at this point, he's dedicated his life to the sport. So it's kind of unfair to continue to call him a YouTube boxer. I mean, the kid's a boxer.
I absolutely agree. I think he's a boxer. He's one of the better boxers in the world. I wouldn't call him a top 10 fighter, but I'd certainly say he's up there. And so right, like people say it can't be done. People are idiots. Like I I don't like using Mike Tyson because he's a freak of nature, but he was 14 when he started boxing and obviously conquered the world at 20. And Jake Paul's been boxing 6 or 7 years. He's got all this money and support behind him. Anyone can, anyone that's got some athletic ability, which he obviously has, can definitely become, the best in the world.
Hmm.
I'm proof of that myself. Like I never had, I'm different to Jake Paul. He's got all this money and all this support behind him. I did everything on my own for millions and millions of hurdles.
Oh,
I had to jump.
absolutely.
Yeah, my story is more that I've had to jump all the hurdles I've had to jump over to get to where I've got to. People will never believe nor understand. So I'm more of a. I'm trying to show any man it can be done. Jake's got a lot more. Um, he's very lucky. I mean, he created. He probably created. I'm not sure how he created his fortune. I'm sure. I don't know if he did it himself or what, but however he did it 6 or 7 years ago and put all that into training, good on him.
Hmm. Have you or anybody in your team been in conversations with him, or?
Nah, but we've obviously with Tommy Fury, there's been very serious conversations.
Okay, so that leads me into this. Tommy Fury. Like, how do we get to this? Like, for people
Yeah.
who probably don't know you, how does Tommy Fury seek you out, or was it the other way around?
So 2 years ago, there was talk about Tommy Fury when he wasn't. He was just a Love Island guy then. He wasn't as big as he is today. There was talk where you could, pay a bit of money and get that fight with him, and it just got left alone. And I was spent a lot of time in Thailand last year and met a lot of English blokes over in Thailand, and sort of blokes with history like myself. So I got on quite well with them, and they liked my story. They liked that I'd rock up to their gyms in Pattaya or wherever, and I'd spar all their boys. I wouldn't know anyone. I'd go to gyms on my own, and I'd spar, 4 or 5 of them at a time. Their best fighters, and so the English, I gained their respect. I became close with them, and these guys are knockaround guys who know some proper people back in the UK. So that's where the talk started. And I brought up how I could have fought. There was talk about me fighting Tommy Fury a few years ago, and then there's obviously the misfit stuff. The guy I first spoke to in the UK has a lot to do with them, and it just expanded from there, bro. Over the last 6 weeks or however long it's been.
Hmm. So is that fight set to go, or
Man,
is
I
or is
can't.
it?
It's so hard. Like I normally in the past, bro, I'll get a fight. I go there. At this level, it's different. Like you don't. Tommy Fury's he's known as a very hard person to deal with. He doesn't say anything, man. Like he's not. He doesn't respond. Like I fully put it on him more than anyone. I'm the first, legitimate fighter that's put it on him like this. He can't get a coffee without being asked about me. So he's getting hammered about me all day, every day. I know this for a fact from his own mates, from his own barber.
Mhm.
Um, so he hasn't responded that he's not fighting. No news is good. There's talks where my team and other teams. I've been told by misfits myself that Mams wants to fight, and Tommy's obviously signed for 2 more fights to Mams Taylor and misfits, and I've been told that they all want the fight. So it's
So
really,
they're going to push.
Tommy has said he wants a legitimate fighter. That's the whole point of all this, all the podcasts. We're trying to obviously push it. He has said he wants a legitimate fighter. He's got that now. There's no yeah, he sort of is in a corner now where if he doesn't fight, he pretty much has to give up boxing. I would have thought.
Well, yeah, and that's what I'm alluding to is he hasn't really been very active, at least from what I know.
No, he's been training. He's been
And that
active
might be
every
a fall
day.
through, and that might be a fall through for what you're trying to work for.
So he's training every day. He trains. He's been running every day and he's been boxing every day. He's been shown that he's training every day. He's in. He said that he wants to fight. Um, he um, he just doesn't. He's known. It doesn't matter who it is in all his fights. He's known to not say anything. You don't really hear from him until the press conference.
Right. Now, with this, what are you looking to do with your career? Are you looking to expand it after this fight? Are you looking to take on like the Jake Pauls, the KSIs of the world, or are you looking to actually expand into other fighters? I mean, somebody in your weight class like David Morrell, 11 and
Yeah,
0.
no, I want to fight the best in the world. I want to fight Julius Chavez because I've been
Okay.
talking to him. There's talk there. Obviously, like I have to once I fight Tommy Fury, I'm going to go to UK now, and I'm going to go. Hopefully, I'm going there in a few days. Start sparring with Darren Till. I almost had a fight with Darren Till. There was almost a fight with him. He wanted to fight me. Um, but now I'm going to go over there, probably and spar with them instead in a few days. I'm going to be going over to the Misfits, making a lot of noise. Obviously, I want to fight Tommy Fury. The main thing is I want to fight the best in the world. I know that by doing all what I've done now, it's a lot easier to fight the best in the world. Like someone like Julio Chavez won't fight me unless I fought a few of these boys first, or even just one of them. So I'm going over there.
Like the Canelo Benavidez controversy.
That's right. And when it gets to Canelo, he can't turn around and say you're a YouTube boxer because I'm a boxer. So if I beat someone like Tommy or Jake, KSI, I could I'm in a very good position to call out Canelo or someone like that and fight them. Otherwise, if I didn't do this just fell into my lap, man. This happened by accident. I could have gone down the other road, which I was willing to, where I have another 10 or 15 more fights, fight in people's backyards, probably get fucking robbed again, do it all the hard way. I was willing to do that. I was ready to do that, and then maybe get the best in the world if I win, 10 fights in a row again from here. So, or there's this where I fight one of these guys, and then you can pretty much call out anyone you want from there. So I'm doing it for the selfless reasons I try and put first, which is like me doing this is showing all them kids I take kids off the street here, showing all them boys. It's showing any man that whether you've been, through mental health. Like I've been in and out of mental hospitals. I've grown up foster care. I've been in prison. All them things. If you had shit happen to you as a kid, I can show all these men that you can get on that stage. That's the number one reason. It's really, really promoting men's mental health that this can be done. People with bad mental health. And then my selfish reasons is what I just said before. Obviously, I jumped the queue. I don't have to do it the hard way now. I can call out the best in the world because that's really what I want. I want to fight the best in the world. I don't want to end my career on, I fought Tommy Fury. I want to end my career on fighting the best in the world. I want to say I fought the best in the world.
It would be nice to see some conversation with a David Morrell. I mean, fresh in his pro career too, just like you. And you guys are in the weight class.
Is David Morrell a UK fighter?
David Morrell is here in the United States. Oh, well, I think he's a Cuban. He's Cuban.
Okay.
But he just fought David Benavidez on a card 3 weeks ago.
Oh shit! Now I know you talk. Yeah, yeah, I know you're talking about now. Yeah, yeah. Well, he just fought Benavidez. Yeah, fucking oath, I'd fight someone that just fought Benavidez.
Absolutely.
if he wanted to fight me on the next fight, if he said on the next fight, I'd fight him, bro.
Nice. Now
as long as it's available, yeah, absolutely.
Now here's where I bring up your age. 35. What are we looking at for a career longevity? Because some would say even 35 to 40 is kind of pushing later on in a fighter's career. Some would say
I'm still in my prime, man. I protected my body. All my 20s, I was in prison. I'm healthy, man. I don't drink. I fucking train every day. I'm very healthy. I'm very strong right now. I'm going to be strong for another, a few more years, man. I'm in my prime right now. I'm the best and strongest I've ever been right now. I want to have all my best fights now, this year, next year.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm fine with that right now. If you ask me that in, 4 years, and I'll have a different answer probably. But now.
So the longevity right now is 4 years from now.
Right now, I'll fight until as long as I can keep I'll keep fighting forever, bro. But right now, I feel like I've still got quite a few. I feel like I'm the best, strongest I've ever been. Right now, man. I've asked a lot of light heavyweights this question. Danny Green himself said he was at the strongest, he was at the best he ever was at 36. He fought his best fights at 36. He said, I've asked quite a few fighters. I've watched quite a few fighters, light heavyweights. Look at Better Beef, bro. He's 40.
Yeah.
A lot of fighters are at their best around
too.
now. Sorry?
Oh, he said he's still a powerhouse too.
So the thing is with light heavyweights is we're not like the lighter fighters who need to be bouncy and stuff. We rely a lot on our muscular endurance, man, which I feel like I've got one of the best in the world. So I feel fine with that. But yeah, I do want to fucking get things moving pretty fast, man, because I don't think I'm going to be like this for another 3 or 4 years more.
Right. And
I look like I'm 25 too, so we'll be right.
Well, anyway, man, I appreciate you giving me your time. You said it's 11 a.m. where you're at, or noon?
It's 12 now, yeah.
12 now? Well, thank you for your time coming on to this. Is there anything you want to say, like plug in your socials or let people know where they can find you? Anything
Oh
before we
yeah,
go?
just my Instagram, Matty the Jedi Floyd. I've got other socials going now, but they're all new. They're not, I've got Twitter now and all them other things, but I don't really know how to use them. But Instagram is what gets used. Matty the Jedi Floyd.
Awesome. So yeah, I'll plug your links in the description when I post this video out. And until the next video, we're out.
Thanks, brother.
You're welcome.